dear Leo. This is your love and spirituality reading for the month of December 2018 with me, Queen of Cups Tarot. We are soon entering into Sagittarius season, so wish all Sagittarius out there a happy birthday. And I hope you have had a lovely November. I myself have had time to recuperate and have some days off. I've been able to both rest and get a lot of things done that was falling behind, and I feel much more in balance between work and play with this new organization. So if you want a personal reading with me, you are welcome to check in on my website www.queenofcupstarot.se. I read for the signs in the order of most liked videos, so hit the thumbs up button for your sign. You can see the order I read in this time around at the community section of my channel. And thank you all for liking, watching, commenting, donating and subscribing to my channel. I'm so grateful for all of your appreciation. This is a general reading for Sun, Moon and Rising sign. For some people that watch, the story I read can be in the reverse, that the energy is the same. You're all part of the whole, but it can be different castings to the different roles by the universe. So for this reading, I used the Druidcraft Tarot by Philip and Stephanie Cargome, illustrated by Will Worthington, and I will start shuffling your cards. So my dear Leos, see what's going on for you this month of December. So when I open your deck here, I see the moon and the wheel. So it seems like rougher times might be ahead, that something that might have been a trigger for you in the past will return and try to trigger you again. Okay, so the moon is the deep unconscious, is where we save memories and information about past lives and everything that has to do with your psyche and your soul. Here it's also saved traumas and other things that have been hurting you, and we are going to have to go through these dramatic sceneries again and again. It can seem very, very unfair when a person that already have been through this one time needs to go through it a second time, a third time, a fourth time, but it's necessary so that you will face the fear that's in the moon and not let it trigger you anymore. So it will be like, oh, this old thing. Yeah, I remember I have been through this so many times. I have the experience to deal with it. That is what will happen, and that will end the karmic wheel. Okay. So it's like playing a car accident over and over until it doesn't trigger you anymore. A child that has been through something traumatic will play out that kind of trauma again and again, and until it doesn't trigger, and then they are healed. So the only thing universe is trying to do is to heal you and to make you a whole person. A whole person can't be touched. It's not going to be triggered even by the same situation happening over and over and over again. It's going to be lifting themselves up from the pain, and okay, so I don't mind what happens. This is okay. I will not try to control the situation. I will go with the flow. Okay, so I call the 4 archangels. I call the divine with love and light. I don't know where I babble too much. And here we have the strength card together with the wheel, showing that you are strong enough to do this now. You are in much better position to repeat this cycle and do it with flying colors. She doesn't even need to hold her weapon. She only have the stubbornness of the wild boar here. So it shows that, yes, bring it on. Bring on this same situation again, and you will deal with it just fine. The strength card is about being very adult in a situation, lift you above. You can see her proud posture. And it's also about having a lot of self-respect and standing your ground and being cool and not being dramatic and being the bigger person, understanding that if you are engaging with another person that is causing a lot of drama, it's about them. They have some problem. It's not personal. So you kind of just feel empathic for that person, but you don't get triggered by what's happening. Okay. So I call the 4 archangels in the 4 corners of the world. And here we have the 9 of swords together with the wheel. So the 9 of swords, it's a 9 connected to 18, and also 18 the moon and the hermit. 1 plus 8 is 9. And Nine of Swords is about facing the pain. It's much what I said about the moon. But here it's also pain coming from tracing from thinking. So when we think things, we create our world. So if you think, oh, here comes that horrible person, they will do this and this and this to me, so that is exactly what's going to happen. So you don't want to be fooled. You don't want to you want to be able to think ahead and see that and see what's going to happen. But if you can be less anxious, less of a victim, and more of this person standing their ground and taking care of themselves, not letting hurt come to them. You will not let yourself be a victim in this situation. You will just be like, oh, here comes this, and it's probably going to mean trouble, but I'm going to deal with it. So not making it about you being targeted as a victim, or you being unfairly treated, or this person being evil and cruel. It's not about that. It's just about a level of perception. Some people can act from their shadow because they don't want to acknowledge that they have a shadow, and therefore their shadow is taking over the whole show. So some people are very unaware of how they are treating other people. So you don't have to take that personally. Okay, so I call the 6 elements: earth, wind, fire, water, spirit, and ether to join us here today and to give us a clear view reading for my dear Leos. That's obviously going through the real situation here. It's old karma coming back, but it's also miracles, because if you are able to face the pain and not be triggered by it, but actually, okay, interesting, so what am I supposed to learn here? You will come out a better person, a more healed person than what you were going into this wheel. So it's like a knot on circle, and every time you come to that knot, you will fall into a pit. It's like bicycling down the road and thinking, oh, there's the hole, I'm not going to fall into it, I'm going to steer here to the right, and then boom, right through the down in the hole. It's like we can't control ourselves, we seek up danger. So, okay, yes, fire, water, spirit, and ether to join us here today and give us a clear view reading for my dear Leo viewers. So, I want my dear Leos to have love in their lives and to find themselves in loving relationship and having creative success and walking on your highest path towards your highest destiny. Okay, so I'm just going to tune in for a few seconds to your energy, Leo, and to this reading. Okay, so my dear Leos, I hear that whatever has been your pitfall in the past will reoccur to trigger you once more, but this time you are much more well equipped to deal with it than what you have been previous times, because you have really practiced on this. This have been it's like you have been on a military boot camp and practiced for just this. So if an old situation reoccurs, keep your cool. If you feel triggered and sad, face inwardly to that little baby inside of you that hadn't gotten the love and attention that it needs, and give it all the love and attention and comfort and happiness and fun. So don't let yourself fall into the pit again. Actually, just sail over it. Okay. So, my dear Leos, this is your future. And this is your now, and this is your past. So I also want to say that the Wheel of Fortune can be the thing that you have dreamt of all along, but it comes with a twist. You have dreamt of something, but this dream is also going to heal you, and not maybe in the most comfortable way all the time, or almost never. Okay. So in the past here we have a 6 of Pentacles. So 6 of Pentacles is a very beautiful card of trying to have a very equal and balanced relationship, having this goodwill, wanting to fix things, wanting other people to be happy, wanting harmony, wanting to be the giver. So it's a person having a rather big heart and also a lot to give. So it kind of describes you, Leo. But it's very easy with the Six of Pentacles to overfunction and maybe do a little bit too much. Maybe do more than is your fair share, and thereby overfunctioning and making other people automatically under-functioning, because there always needs to be balance. And if one is doing too much, the other one is going to do too little. So it's about also remembering to keep your balance. Do things for people that feels nice, but then when you feel like you're starting to get irritated, you back down and wait for the other person to make a move instead of you doing it, or asking them, maybe you could do this for me. It would be wonderful. Okay. And here we have the Three of Wands. So Three of Wands is a rather demanding card, and it's not demanding of you, it's you demanding things. Three of Wands is when your mind is set on something. It's not, okay, I'm hearing a song. I got my mind set on you. I will write it down if I can. Set on you. Rather happy song. But it's someone being very determined on a particular goal or something that they really want. So it might be a way that you want to be treated, for example. So you're not going to accept other things. So it's like this stubbornness with the wild boar. It's you're not going to change your mind about this. You know what's going to make you happy, and you're going to only accept that and nothing else. So the Six of Pentacles is much about compromise, and Three of Wands, it's also being open for compromise in one way, but it's like going to the negotiation table, knowing what you can compromise about and what you will never ever compromise about, what you can never let happen or never let go of. So it's like being really tough when it comes to negotiations, and not and having things that you can actually know that, oh, this I can give, this I can do, and actually having something to offer your business partner or your romantic partner or your family members or friends or whatever you're having this kind of situation with. It's a rather tense situation, but a very fruitful situation, like the one where business partners go to the negotiation table. So you need to have something to give your other business partner, but you are still like this big business leader. So you also know what you want out of this. So it's like a game of chess. And you have things that you can give and things that you won't give away. You won't give away your king and your queen, for example, but you can sacrifice a little bit of the poor peasants. So it's a determination that will lead you towards your goal through some blockades and obstacles. It's like you're skiing around them in a very skilled way. Okay. And this is your future. Here we have the Nine of Swords. So you will be triggered in this process. It's like you have a rather smooth sailing right now. You feel harmony. You feel like this greater, bigger person that has a lot to give. You also feel very sure in your different situations with people. You don't get triggered easily. You stand your ground. You stand in your comfort zone and being able to direct things from there. And then something happens. Nine of Swords. They come in a situation that you are not able to handle in the same way, but you're probably supposed to try. Okay, fake it till you make it. So even if your knees shakes and you want to go run home and cry, still go to the negotiation table or to this point, this situation that is so problematic, and deal with it like in the most grown-up way you can. Okay, with the Nine of Swords, you are going to feel like a little child that wants to run home to mommy, but the only mommy you have is yourself. So you're going to have to be your own parent in this situation and kind of comfort you, push you into greatness, and stand and hold your own back, and seeing to that you don't fall over. Okay, Nine of Swords, it's an old thing, wants to come back and trigger you in some way. Don't let it. Okay, so here we have your past, and we have a Seven of Wands. So Seven of Wands is a very strong card. It's the energy of the planet Mars in Leo. So it's the warrior energy, like when someone have pissed Leo off and make them into warrior. So I'm thinking this is rather balanced with the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands. You know when to give, you know when to put boundaries. So you have practice on this. It's very healthy that you give, but then as soon as you see that this person's here, they are starting to take advantage, then you put some kind of boundary. You tell them with words, calm, nice words, like you are my friend, but now I'm seeing you are doing this, and this was what we agreed on, so you are going to have to do that. It can be like a situation where you need to stand your ground, again with the Wild Book and what we saw in the Strength card, being a little bit tough also. So you are still a kind soul. You still have a big heart, but you just don't want to get used by anyone. And here we have the Seven of Cups. So whenever you have to stand your ground and say things, you get rather worried with the Seven of Cups. It's not your cup of tea, we can say. You don't want to have to roar and, wave with your paws and show your teeth, because you know your strength and you don't want to use it to alienate people around you. And I think that many Leos have grown up with this feeling of being almost too strong for your own good, so that it's very easy for you to destroy situations around you. And so you have been very careful of keeping the claws in and the teeth, like the mouth shut over the very sharp teeth, and you have tried to be a really nice kitty because you don't want to have this feeling with the Seven of Cups. We have Seven of Wands, Seven of Cups. Sevens are always spiritual challenges. So whenever you stand up for yourself, you get triggered, and it might be some old childhood thing, like I shouldn't have said that because now my mommy or my daddy is angry with me. So whenever you showed your strength, and many Leos might have been almost a little bit grown up already when you were children, so you had this maybe this authority and saying to your parents, well, this is wrong, you can't do things this way, and people in authority doesn't want people underneath their authority to be sassy, so probably this triggered some kind of reaction. So also now in grown-up age, you might have a hard time with putting boundaries and showing your strength, because you have these memories about what happened when you showed your strength. So you don't want to. You always want to be nice. You don't want to put boundaries. Whenever you put boundaries, you get a little bit worried and you're tossed back in some old memories. Seven of Cups, it's like the Minor Arcana, a moon card. It's filled with illusion and emotions you don't know where they come from. Why are you suddenly triggered with this emotion? You thought you were cool. You thought you were on top of things, had harmony in your heart with the Six of Pentacles, that it was easy for you to give, and you weren't dependent on other people because you also felt this Seven of Wands. But when you actually needed to use the Seven of Wands, you suddenly felt like this Seven of Cups. It's like back to the primordial swamp. So this is a situation where you are not fully cool with having to set boundaries. It still feels awkward in some way. Either you get taking it too personally and becoming a little bit bitter even. It can be like, okay, so I'm not going to have relationships because they are always ending with me having to, say no to people because they are always trying to step all over me. So it can be a bitterness. It can also be self-blame. Seven of Cups is also projections. You might see things with other people that's not really there because you haven't really dealt with all issues from past life and childhood and earlier relationship. But here comes the Star card. So you might have had like some minor encounter that actually ended rather well, that you had some kind of thing where you needed to stand your ground and you got a lot of feelings of being ashamed for that, or maybe being very unsettled emotionally with the Seven of Cups. But it actually ended well here with the Star card. So it was like a test run. You were managing to heal yourself after this little bit of encounter. It doesn't seem to involve so much other people. So I think this was something that triggered by other people most likely, maybe people that you have helped in some way. But then the process that scared you or freaked you out a little bit was happening internally. But you were able to get back your balance and to actually not take some kind of bitter decision, okay? Because a bitter decision would have been, okay, so I can obviously not be with other people or do this for other people because they will try to bring injustice over me. But instead you were, okay, so I was able to fix this. The feeling wasn't that bad. Maybe you were able to talk it out with your family, your partner, your friend, your coworker, whatever it was that triggered you, and it fell back into order and balance. So it was like a trial run to probably prepare you for bigger things to come. And we can see here, this is two different souls that the divine is mixing together here in the river of time. So you are working very closely together with other souls. It might be for just this short period of time or for a longer time, but it's definitely people that belongs to your soul group that you are dealing with and doing this practice with. So your foe is actually your closest friends in another dimension. It's like you're on the brink of losing your balance all the time, but you kind of know the steps now to put yourself back into balance, and you also have very remarkable help from the divine and from your spirit guides. So, and this is the now, so it will be, this might be November and this is December. It can be also, this is the beginning of November and this is mid, and the later will be the end. It can be, it's smaller and bigger cycles. It can also show your whole life, and it can show the rest of the year. So it's bigger and smaller cycles. And here we have the Two of Pentacles, and around this it's kind of the eternity and energy of the 8 is going here. So it's about balance again. We can see this ship going under. It's much the feelings that we have with the 7 of Cups, something that here we can see they are reminiscing something emotional that they might have had in the past, or they are feeling their own emotion inside of them reflecting in this pond. And here is happening something, it's like a relationship going under in the storm, and that can trigger a lot of unbalanced emotion. And we can see here she's trying to keep her balance even when something as awful as that is happening. So it's about being able to take care of yourself in the midst of a storm, keeping your inner peace, keeping your inner garden intact, not letting your soul get traumatized just because you are in a little bit troublesome situation. So it's a Two of Pentacles, so it's connected to all the twos, the High Priestess, the Justice card, the Judgment. So it's about in a situation, in action, when like things are happening with action, you need to take good decisions. So even in the midst of danger, or in the midst of a situation where you are maybe having a very stressful time, or maybe arguing with someone, needing to stand your ground, you also need to make quick decisions, and quick decisions that will put you back into balance. So that will put you back into a sense of being calm and cool. The card we saw with the 8, the Strength card in the beginning, try to keep this posture through everything. Don't betray yourself, don't let yourself down, keep on backing yourself up and having your back and standing on solid ground. So don't start to question yourself. That seems to be your Achilles heel here, when you start to question yourself and should I, shouldn't I, were I right to say that? If you weren't right to say things, the other person will tell you. They will tell you, but well, this was how it was from my point of view, and you will be able to say, okay, so now I understand you. Sorry for thinking the worst here. That is everything that you need to do. You don't have to foresee how things are going to go. You just need to follow your heart, do the things that you need to do, that you feel are connected to your soul, regardless of the consequences, and then you take the consequences also as a grown-up person. Also getting back the balance. Okay, so I misunderstood and it wasn't that bad as I thought, and you can calm yourself down here. So Two of Pentacles, sometimes we're dealing with people that are difficult with the Two of Pentacles. It can be someone just playing around or playing games with you or trying to manipulate you, things like that. And maybe the relationship itself is very precious to you, so you don't want to lose it just because of some kind of fallout. So it seems like you are trying to keep the balance between you and the other person, but here it seems like the other person is also helping and the divine is also helping. So you don't have to fix everything yourself. If you have a fallout, let the other person also fix it. Don't try to carry the whole load yourself. And here we have a Four of Wands. So again, something happened that triggered you and you were able to regain your balance and even regain the relationship. So now I see it happens 2 times. First here with the Star card and then here with the Four of Wands. Of course, Christmas and the time of holidays with Thanksgiving that is celebrated in America, not in Sweden. It's a long period of holidays and we're needing to meet a lot of our relatives and people that we usually don't hang out with maybe on a daily basis, and it can be a time of a lot of difficulties, like how to balance myself and the other person and seem to that I feel nice and the other person feel nice and there's no disaster here, the Christmas isn't ruined, and you're actually doing very well with that. You're able to create some kind of loving atmosphere here for both yourself and other people. So it's like you're creating a home with being this stable. And it's not easy for you because you're a very passionate creature. So underneath the surface, you are questioning yourself and you're having pains and aches, but you are able to manage the situation and get this loving atmosphere. So it's very masterful of you. It's very brave when something is very hard and it's difficult for you to do and you do it anyway. That kind of gives room for a little bit of applause. Okay, so I think that the universe your spirit guides are very proud of you in this moment where you again and again are able to go back into balance, go back into harmony, and find those small situations in your life that you are grateful for, finding inner peace, making your body into a cozy home for yourself, and also letting this warmth spread to the whole of your house or your apartment, and also to your friends and relatives, and being able to be rather diplomatic in different situations, but still being strong. So with the Seven of Wands here. So we can see here that the walls is a little bit higher here, and here they are very low. It's just a fireplace. So if you imagine that this is a person, and this is the fiery hot passion, and here are your boundaries. It's very airy. It's not like a big wall as here. It's just you and your words and your energy that's protecting the foundation. So this is what's happening when you have a good self-esteem, when you back yourself up, when you take care of your own inner peace. You are able to let people come and go and always know when you feel out of balance and when you need to put that balance back by maybe saying something. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be a little thing. Okay, now I have heard you quarreling here for 5 minutes. You don't seem to get anywhere. This is what I see. Do this and things will settle down. So it's like you're taking leadership here, but in a very humble way. So I don't see you taking like a leadership role, sitting on the throne, keeping control of your family. It's more like you're holding them in your hands, like this, and seeing to that that they get the loving support and advices that they also need to keep the balance. So you might be able to see things that's worrying for yourself or your inner, more emotional side of you, but you're still able to keep this. You feel the worry and then you fix the balance. You feel worried again, you fix and balance. You feel a little bit worried, you fix and balance. So it's actually like you have really learned to use your triggered emotions in a way that's very fruitful, as warning flags. As soon as things are starting to get out of harmony, you are able to sense that and bring things back into harmony. So it's very skillful. Next card is the Prince of Swords. So we have the star card here, that's Aquarius, and we have Gemini here. So you might be dealing with an air sign or people that is your, they are placed here by you. Before you went down into this lifetime, you said, we are going to meet at that point. You are going to trigger me, challenge me, come with new plans and schemes and witty ideas that will throw me off balance, and I will be trained into getting back into balance. So the Prince of Swords is an energy that kind of wants to play with your inner peace, and it's like a person seeing your weak spot and wanting to drag those out in the sun, trigger you, making you grow, triggering you, making you grow. So on the outside it can feel like a person attacking you and being very skillful in protecting themselves, and always it's like a person being able to always keep themselves dry and never ending up in trouble, but causing a lot of trouble wherever they go. I'm not saying that Gemini is like that, but it's a person that has a very vivid mind. It's like the Roman Empire, have a lot of new ideas, but also wants to shovel those ideas sometimes down a person's throat, like the Roman Empire did. But we have a lot to thank them for, like the alphabet and roads and the architecture. We can thank the Greece Empire, but yes, there's a lot of things that was happening that was great. We still have beautiful structures all over Europe thanks to the Romans that actually spread the Greek architecture over Europe. But they also destroyed a lot of old things that might have been nice, but some things needs to go and new things needs to happen. It's like technology. This can be like technology, challenging your old way of doing things. You have always paid your bills by going to the post office, and then one day when you are in a mature age, you suddenly need to learn about the internet. So it can be things like this, triggering you to grow all the time. Okay, so I really don't know what that energy might be like, but I have described it, so it's probably going to be a person coming from the outside and again triggering you. So I'm seeing you being triggered at least 3 times during this period by different energies, and it's all about testing you, how firmly you can stand and keep your cool and keep your self-love and self-respect and not start to question yourself and get scared and fall out of balance. So it's like you're tested for something, and it's by people that you yourself have put here. You have agreed with them that come and test me at this time. I'm going to need it to be able to come to the next level of my awareness. So they are actually doing you a favor, so don't be too mad. Okay, and here we have 7 of Pentacles. So now you have a lot of sevens. 7 of Wands, 7 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles. This kind of card always comes when there's time to make some kind of quantum leap. When it's time to realize things that you haven't been able to realize before, and change certain patterns that you haven't been able to change before. So this 7 of Wands is about standing your ground and saying yes and no to things without being ashamed. 7 of Cups is about being ashamed and also being triggered by your emotions, and getting also maybe not knowing your emotions fully. Maybe you have tried to rise above your emotions so you could be nice to people. So here it's about going back, connecting with your emotions so they can start to communicate with you and tell you, okay, this is a bad situation, say something. Say something. I'm hearing a song again. It's also always triggered by my words or my thoughts. So I'm going to try to say something. I'm giving up on you. So it's like you're a little schizophrenic here, my dear Leos. Because first it's like you've decided upon a person and then you're going to give up on them. So it's a little bit of both. So 7 of Cups, it's this situation when maybe you want to give up on something. You thought that it was going to give you everything and it gave you nothing. So it can be deeper things going on here than just this little petty thing that I saw. On a deeper level, it can go way back, this 7 of Cups, but I have already explained that. The 7 of Pentacles is about having patience. People are not going to do things in the way you want them to. They're not going to clean your house in the way you want them to. They're not going to apologize in the way you want them to. They're not going to do the work in the way you want them to. They're not going to love you in the way you want them to. So it's about being able to be patient with people being in the way that they are, and not forcing things to happen, and being okay with, okay, so this person is like that. I'm not going to be able to change them, but in the same time kind of preparing for celebration, preparing and being hopeful for that day when this person can also see what you see. So it's like winter and a person is preparing for spring, preparing for fertilization by putting up a mistletoe so people can kiss underneath it. It's very Christmassy, and it's actually a hidden ritual to get spring back. So it's like you want to get love back in your life, or you want to get creativity back in your life. Maybe it's having a writer's block and not being able to write something right now, and okay, preparing for the day when the inspiration will come back, but not fret about not having the inspiration today. Or preparing for the day when there will come a woman or a man into your life, but not being anxious of the person not being there today. Wanting maybe your children to go to college, but not being able to force them. So just being thankful for that day when maybe that will happen. You keep that thought in your head that this would be my dream for this person. That will make me feel hopeful because they have so much capacity and I want them to be able to do that, but I'm not going to force them. So I just hold the hope. It's like holding hope for other people and yourself. Without needing the thing to manifest today, just being able to keep that line open, we can say. Okay, so next, funny, and it's the 7 of Swords. So it's about being able to manage your thoughts as well. And I'm thinking that might be one of the most important things, because we saw how the 9 of Swords were affecting this round. It's like you're going around and round, and at this time I'm thinking your thought is going to be the thing that you still haven't really mastered, to be able to not think in such a negative way about people and their possibilities and miracles and how things can change in a positive way. It's like you have a very down-to-earth way of seeing things. You don't believe people can change. You don't believe problems can solve by itself. You don't believe in miracles. It's very much a card without hope, the 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords is a situation when you think that there's no universe, there's no God, there's not another dimension. This life is the only life, and therefore you need to make this life the best possible. That's a good notion, but that might lead to people, this kind of mindset might lead to people becoming thieves, or starting to plan and scheme how to manipulate other people into doing the things they want, because they think that this life is the only one. There's no such thing as karma. There's no such thing as life after death. It's just this what's happening now, and what's happening now, it's not particularly fun, and I'm not going to have it. So I want to try to fix my life in the best way possible, and I might turn to bad means. Okay, so it might be starting to use people, or it can go either way. Either you can become a manipulating person that uses people, or you can stay in this like nothing will ever be great kind of thinking. I'm just waiting for the world to end. Nothing is ever going to get better than what it is already now. So it's a card a little bit without hope. It's like a person feel that everything is on them, and nothing will be, no one will come and help. And it might have also like obvious, how can we say, proof on the outside that it seems like no one is helping you. Actually, the thing you notice is when people are working against you, or attacking you, or being manipulating towards you. So you see that maybe it's the game that I need to win, or you don't want to play the game at all, and you say, to hell with it, I'm not going to deal with other people, because hell is other people. So Seven of Swords is a very negative card, so it's about negative thinking and thoughts. Your words and your thoughts become the house you live in. So you're creating your life with the things you're thinking. You're like an architect. So you probably need to start to look at your thinking, what you're thinking about. Not maybe everyone. It might be like a particular person or group of people. Some people will have very much problem with women. You can't trust them. Or some people might have problems with people that's rich. They are always going to use other people. Other people might have problems with people that's poor, or people that's from a certain country, or whatever. So it doesn't have to be with everyone, but with some people or some situation you have a very negative expectation, and that negative expectations is of course going to manifest in your life one way or the other. The positive expectations will as well. This beautiful self-love that you have, and this very beautiful patience with other people. But some people you don't seem to have so much patience with. So that's a new area for you to focus on, to start to look on your thinking, and you might be thinking the truth, but how can I say this? It's about, yes, okay, so maybe women can't be trusted, or men will always just play games, but maybe that's okay. Okay, so that's how your thinking might be relieved. Maybe that's okay. Maybe I can deal with that. Maybe that doesn't have to affect my life negatively. So that can be a way which you are heighten your frequency when it comes to your thoughts. I'm not saying that your thoughts are wrong. You might be totally right about that awful person in your life. But you don't have to make yourself a victim out from that notion. You don't have to make yourself like, okay, so that's the end of the world. That's just a little part of the world. And that person is difficult, and you still have to deal with them. And that's okay, because you are now this very stable, self-loving person that knows where your boundaries are, where you end and another person begins. So this doesn't have to affect you. You don't have to take it personally. You can just say, okay, so that's how they are, or how I see them. But I'm making decisions, and taking certain steps to see to that this energy doesn't affect me that much. So you can minimize the effect of this negative thinking in your life, and start like a better spiral, because it's like it's a self-fueling prophecy. When you think this bad thing about this person or this group of people, that's going to make them like that, and you're going to think more like that about them, and that's going to make them even more like that, and it's going to be like that, and that's your life. Other people will say, no, that's not true. Women are the people that I really trust. I can trust them to a T. I don't have to worry at all when I'm close to my mother or my sister. I can be so cool because I really trust them, and you don't trust women at all, but because that's your world. It's not everyone's word. And you can change this negative spiral by just not letting it get to you. Start with that, not letting it get to you. It's what it is, okay? So you don't have to think about it. You don't have to solve it. Whenever you see it happens, you deal with it in your very masterful way without using the weapon. We saw the lioness, the strength card. Her sword was actually on the ground. She was strong enough without it. So you don't even have to fight back at this person or do the same thing as this person. You can just like, okay, so you're rude, and I don't engage so much in rude people. So maybe you can come back one day when you don't feel as rude. So it doesn't have to be more dramatic than that. Okay. And here we have the Eight of Pentacles. So it's definitely that which you need to work on. Eight of Pentacles is repeating work that will lead to perfection and to a person also becoming more calm and more skilled. First time you were doing these stars, you were shaking in your knees. They were crooked. You cried. You burned yourself on the stove. Next time you learn to maybe be a little bit more careful with the very hot stuff here, but the star still became crooked. But now you are a specialist in making those stars, okay, making peace here, even with warrior tribes or warring people in your life. And you're not triggered anymore. It's like you're becoming a master of this. So what I'm seeing with this stroke is you having a lot of self-confidence. Okay, you still believe that some people are really shitty, but you have the possibility of not letting this bother you and still keeping your cool and still being the bigger person, having your boundaries, but in a very peaceful way. That's actually not another trigger, because we can go into a game here where we are triggering each other, triggering, and it will create a World War III. But here it's more about you mastering this, that having hope for them too, that maybe not today, this person is still, you know, unsettling and rude and problematic, but one day you are hopeful for that one day when things will be different. With the Seven of Swords, yes, you realize that you see things that's not particularly positive, but you don't let that hurt you, because you are now a very professional person when dealing with relationships. Specifically relationships, business relationship, love relationship, friendship relationships. They are still triggering you like this, but you are now so skilled. If one star get crooked, you know how to fix it, because you have now the experience. You have done this routine so many times. So what I'm seeing for you is that all people might come back in your life. That might be about Christmas or these holidays where you meet people that you haven't seen for a long time, and that might trigger you, and you will have to practice, and also I think you will realize how skilled you have become with this, that it's not as hard as it was before. You might actually feel a little bit of thrill, because you have become so skilled at it. So it's like you're solving a lifelong problem with dealing with difficult relationships, and you're doing so with flying colors. So it seems kind of great, actually. Okay. So I think I will read some of these cards. I'm thinking the Seven of Swords is the most problematic here. So I'll read that one for you. Seven of Swords. So you will get the book's perspective on this for the Druid Craft Tarot. Okay. So there are at least two distinctly different interpretation that may apply to this card in a reading. One suggests that the agile and insightful quality represented by swords and the intellect, combined with the mystical and courageous voyaging quality of the number 7, creates an exciting atmosphere which acts like a breath of fresh air. We can't really see it with this wise man here being deep into thoughts and maybe into his troubles, but he has the window open and we see a crescent moon there. New ideas challenge old assumptions, insights and fresh ideas spring up, and great progress is made. The other interpretation relates to a more controlled use of the intellect. Someone with a highly developed mind may meet a challenge with a strategy that could be bold and daring, or simply cunning and manipulative. You may be using your intellect, your wit, or your charm to gain an advantage or recover something that has been lost. But you need to be careful that you don't start believing the end justify the means, or that you slip into Machiavellian behavior in which you scheme and manipulate to get what you want. In a more general sense, the card may be referring to research or strategic planning, or possibly espionage, deceit, or escape. So I'm feeling this Prince of Swords, Seven of Swords. It's like a challenging energy in your life. It might be something mirroring yourself. It might be yourself being like this, or it might be that someone else is being like this and mirroring something that you could actually bring up and use as well. So I'm not saying no to you having negative thoughts about a particular group of person or a particular person, but just not let that get to you, and that will start to make you a master of this situation. 8, so it's connected to the strength card. We have 17, the star. 1 plus 7 is 8. So you're going to use your calm, cool strength to deal with this situation, even if it's malicious or not. Okay. So a card from the Oracle of the Angels by Mario Duguay. For my dear Leos, card for my dear Leos for the month of December. Not so many. As you can see, spirits are not they are not particularly, how can I say this? They don't follow directions that well. So I will take some of these cards, not all of them. Okay, I feel this and this. Okay. So 3 cards instead of 1, that's fine. We start with 3, comfort. And the funny thing is that this is 35 and 36, so counting upwards to something. So you're going towards illumination and enlightenment. Sometimes it can count backwards, and then you are going into something old that needs to be solved, something you need to go back and fix, but you are going forward towards something that that can be only better. Okay, so whatever, if the reading seems troubled with all the 7s, it's actually you being able to manage something that you haven't been able to manage before. Take comfort in the knowing that there is a divine presence in your life, star card there, guiding you at all times. There is no need to fear. Trust in the guidance of your angelic helpers and surrender your worries to them. Know that everything will work out exactly how it meant to, for the greater good. And you might need to have a lot of patience to see that through and not become anxious and blaming the universe for not giving you what you want, because things take time. People need to develop, they need to have insight. Certain things certain happenings needs to happen, certain destined happenings before things can really turn into miracles. I release my fear, for a divine presence comforts me. In trust, I surrender myself to this presence. I let go of all worries and choose to relax. Well-being surrounds me, and I'm comforted by the knowledge that I'm never alone. So you're really taken care of, and I think you can feel this presence in your life, so you don't have to fret about something or feel that the time is running out, or just whatever happens is fine. Go with the flow. You are very well taken care of. Initiation. Every stage in life is an initiation into a new higher state of being. Through these constant progressive initiations, we gain access to the strength that helps us grow in love and wisdom. Welcome these evolutionary passages. See them as an opening that leads you to work on your innermost being so that you can be forever lifted up to the highest ideal, God. I am constantly being initiated into higher states of awareness, and I see 4 initiations in this reading alone. So, I'm seeing it happen mostly in difficult relationships, but also it might be with some goals that you want to achieve, but it just comes here with 8 of Pentacles. And for most of you, it will be with relationships that will be challenging, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 initiation, all the elements. So you are really going to be challenged, and it's really going to be rewarded. And the challenge might not even be that hard because you have become this cool and skilled. So, source of life, God. So again, with the spirits and God. So you're really working on a high frequency, even if it doesn't feel like that. God, the source of all life, is within you, with you and around you at all times. The source of life permeates everything in existence. You can move closer to this divine source simply by holding this answer that God is everywhere in everything. Feed yourself, held in His love, and glow in His light. The source of all life is within me and all around me. I am embraced by a great love that fills my being and brings me peace. So if you connect to this love, you will be safe and feel calm and have inner peace in whatever situation you are in. And I think that is the greatest goal for you at this time. Whatever happens, choose to feel fine. Okay, choose to feel fine, and you will vibrate with this divine energy. Beautiful. Okay, so I'll also take a card from sorry, I got lost there. Notes from the universe on love and connection. And I'm thinking it's this. I'm not going to argue with the divine right now. They seem to be have their mindset, them too. That you have options is meaningful. Rock on. If I could make just 2 wishes, I'd wish I could somehow convey to you the profound depths of my gratitude for every moment of your life. I'd also wish that you could somehow know of your unimaginable importance, just as you now are to the lives of so very many. And of course, I wish for even more wishes. Oh shoot, you were such a good idea, the universe. So it kind of says that be true to who you are, because who you are is having a great impact, great positive impact on the world as we know it. So you're placed here as a very important figure, a very good idea to make Earth and its inhabitant be able to rise into this new vibration. So just be yourself, because you were made exactly as you were supposed to be. So don't try to be something else. Don't question yourself so much. Just be yourself and listen to your own wisdom and act accordingly. And you will have the impact on your life and the people around you in the way you were supposed to. If you try to be something else or someone else, the impact is not going to be that great. So, love in spite of it all. This can sometimes be unsettling when we feel the deepest love for people that doesn't really deserve it. But love is there regardless of why. And I have told you why. It's because they are your best friends in another dimension. But here they are put here to be a challenge towards you. So the love is fine. You don't have to feel ashamed for loving someone that's not, you can feel that they are not worthy of your love because of how they are trying to manipulate you. And it might spy on you as well as what we heard from the cards. So, before this odyssey ever began, there was you, your best friends, and wide-eyed curiosity among you about who would be the first to leap, the first to forget, the first to kiss, the first to tell, the first to fall, the first to get back up, and the first to remember that it all began with a dare, to love in spite of it all. Is that you, Mergatroyd, the universe? I remember the glint in your eyes, all 3 of them. So this is talking about the time before. I actually getting a little bit goosebumps on my arms. I haven't seen this card before. So it's talking about this, how excited you all were to come down here and do this game of life with your friends that might have become your foes at this lifetime. So remember, even in the baddest times, that these people that you're surrounded with, in another dimension, you will be the best of friends. So you don't have to take things so darn hard, okay? Sometimes the good is hidden. Find the good in what they said or asked. It's always there, even if they didn't mean it for it to be there. Sherlock, yours, the universe. Clues for what you want are hidden all around you. So they probably feel this love too, even if they are acting malicious towards you. And you can look for signs with that if you want to feel the connection that were before you went down to this life, because it seems like this is the kind of energy you need to hold at this time. So it can be important to see past sometimes what you see intellectually. I think you have learned in a sense to see things intellectually, but now is the challenge to also see the truth, but also holding the love energy both for yourself and for others, okay? It's not only about being right. In all tests of character, when two viewpoints are pitted against each other, in the final analysis, the thing that will strike you the most is not who was right or wrong, strong or weak, wise or foolish, but who went to the greater length in considering the other's perspective. Don't you agree? The universe. So, yeah, and I think that is a quality that Leos might have and can be able to cultivate to great length, sometimes to your own downfall. But here you're not supposed to change yourself. You were supposed to be yourself, even with this very loving energy that gave and gave and gave. What you have learned is just to stand your ground now and not just give it away for free. So that is going to trigger growth in other people too. So the only challenge is to not let the situations get to you, feel inner balance, but also not getting bitter, okay? So the other person is doing the best they can probably, even if it's not that great in your eyes. What would love do? Do you know why it's so easy for us in the unseen to quickly pinpoint your whereabouts? You leave behind footprints of love, or the universe. Psst. The legend of Bigfoot continues. Okay, so yes, the love that you hold is important. So it was never about you not being this foolish person that falls so easily out of in love and having this big heart. It was about you also having other tools at your disposal, also being able to be a little bit suspicious, having this a little bit suspicious mind, and still be able to keep the love energy. So class is over for today. It was a long reading, but I guess you needed it at this time. All my love to you, Leo, and welcome back to my January reading that I will perform in the middle of December. Okay, bye-bye.